I knew I was supposed to present after lunch, and something had told me to go and sleep during this session, but I was here and the CEO ambushed me and asked me to present. Na mimi ni nani? Nikasema ni sawa. So ni sawa? Because I knew when we talk about nuclear in the afternoon, it will be problems. I have seen my classmate at high school. Is he the one? Yes, that man was my classmate at high school. Many years. Nice to see you. Yes. I'm singing for the first time. I didn't see him earlier, so I will have said I tutaongea baadaye. So I know nuclear is new, and many of us may not have interacted with it. But as you've been told, NuPEA stands for Nuclear Power and Energy Agency, and we are a state corporation within the Ministry of Energy. And our function mainly is to guide the country towards the development of the nuclear power program, so that we can actually be able to enhance nuclear technology to generate electricity. But apart from that, nuclear is also available in other spheres of life. How many know that nuclear is also used in other things? Nuclear is used in everyday life. Nuclear is used in the diagnosis and treatment of cancer. Are you aware of that? Because many people believe that nuclear causes cancer. Actually, nuclear is used in the diagnosis and treatment of cancer. It's also used in nutrition, in the sense that nuclear technology can be applied to ensure that we have fast maturing crops, drought resistance, disease resistant, and with high nutritive value. And also it is used in the water desalination, and it's also used in preserving foods. You know, actually as a country we lose a lot of our produce because of post-harvest, but it's a technology called food irradiation, which you can use nuclear technology to kill diseases and insects in food, and therefore preserve our food. So nuclear is a very, very good thing, and I think this is our ship-making moment as a country to actually onboard this technology, because we know that the countries that have developed, like America, China, US, Britain, Germany, and I know some people talk about Germany later, France, Korea, Pakistan, India, they all have nuclear, and nuclear has helped them to really develop quickly. Let me just go through the slides because they were prepared, but I've actually made my presentation. We have done the introduction. I've told you about NuPEA. So we all know that with the issue of global warming, and for societies that plan for their future, we are aware that one of the biggest cause of global warming is man's quest for energy. So you cut firewood so that you can boil your githeri, you fuel your car so that you can go to work. We do all those things, and they are the biggest contributors to global warming. We burn coal for energy, and so forth and so forth. But as the world looks to control to manage climate change, we need to look for cleaner and greener sources of energy. And one of the clean sources of energy is actually nuclear, and it is part of our energy governance issues as a country to consider this source of technology so that we can address climate change. So I think this is preaching to the converted. We are all government experts. We know the essentials of good governance. We need an enabling legal framework. We need institutional arrangements and coordination mechanisms. When you talk about the enabling framework, things like laws and decrees, strategic actions and funding mechanisms. Because laws will actually tell you what you're expected to do and how you're to do it and the processes. And strategic action is how you're going to prioritize, how you're going to act. And you also will need finances to carry out your activities. Then we have institutional arrangements. We are talking about implementing institutions that will actually attain the governance arrangement, resources required, issues of stakeholder engagement, public-private sector cooperation, and international cooperation. And this is particularly so in the area of nuclear technology, because nuclear is a technology that is highly regulated internationally because of the safety issues involved. So we have an international organization, the International Atomic Energy Agency, that really has a close regulation on this. And also because we have a saying in the nuclear world that a nuclear accident anywhere is a nuclear accident everywhere. So in terms of international cooperation, it's very important that all the countries of the world work closely together to ensure that nuclear technology is applied in a safe and secure environment. Then we have coordination, and this is where we're talking about government coordination, issues of target setting and evaluation. So I've actually gone through this, but just to add that beyond the promotion of nuclear electricity generation in Kenya, in 2019, Parliament enacted the Energy Act 2019 and placed two critical mandates within the agency. You may not have seen us run with them very much, but it's part of the unbundling process that is ongoing. But NuPEA is also responsible for all R&D activities for the entire nuclear and petroleum sector in this country. Of course, these are mandates that are being run by the individual actors in the sector, but the NuPEA is supposed to coordinate that and also to coordinate the capacity building initiatives within the sector. That is in terms of training personnel for them to be able to support the sector. So nuclear, I know, I'm a lawyer. Let me make a confession that nuclear physics and chemistry was not my forte. It was a bit hard, but I can see some engineers in the house who are very comfortable with that. But after the physics and the chemistry in nuclear technology in the generation of electricity is very simple technology that is applicable even in other spheres. How many of us remember something about protons and neutrons? Yeah, I knew Engineer Akech will remember. Who else? I know there are many lawyers in the house, and so they will not remember that. But neutrons were something called neutrons and protons. Protons were the positive and neutrons were the negative. And they are the ones that form an atom. But the scientists have found that you can try to split them. And as you split them, they generate a lot of electricity. And once you split, they continue, you get a chain reaction, and the splitting goes on and on and on. But forget about that. Once the splitting has happened, that process generates a lot of heat, and in this reactor vessel, that heat boils the water, and this vessel is pressurized, and that causes steam, and this is the steam that goes here, and it turns the turbine. Then after that, the generation is the same, just as you use hydro to generate on hydros or solar. The process is the same. So it's really very simple technology, where the difference is only on this side, and therefore it's a technology that we can also adopt as a country and use it for generation of electricity. Now, I've really talked about the research and development mandates, and this is an area that we really need to also focus as a country, because we tend to neglect, and Kenya is really guilty of this, because we have done a lot of innovations, but a lot of the innovations that we do are actually taken by other people and patented, and they make a lot of money from that. So we want to also be able to do that. In research and development also, nuclear, as I've already mentioned, is used in medicine, in the diagnosis and treatment of cancer and other diseases. It can also be used in hydrology, that's groundwater tracing. I've also mentioned about in food and agriculture, in terms of developing high yielding, high nutritive, drought resistant, and crops that are resistant to pests and diseases. The technology is also used in mining, because as you know, mining requires a lot of electricity, and sometimes the mining can be in remote locations. We may use, today the technology is very advanced. We have what are called small modular reactors. And for lay people, I'll say is that the way you have a generator at home, a small modular reactor is like that, a small generator which is portable and can be used for that technology. The technology is also used in industry for activities such as non-destructive testing. When you want to know something about the components of material material without breaching them, you can actually use nuclear technology to determine their integrity through that process. The engineers of roads may know about this. You can actually use that technology to check a place on a road that has is likely to have a pothole before you dig out the hole. And those ones who are maybe from Kenya Pipeline also, you can actually be able to detect if there's a crack in the pipeline without having to really break it up using this technology. In art and science also, the technology can be used also for determining the age of things, and also used in the environment. As I've said, nuclear technology nuclear power plants produce zero carbon during operation, and because of their nature, they occupy very little space, so they therefore have a very small carbon print. You know about space exploration, the going to the moon and the space. You can use nuclear technology to propel those machines. And finally, I've mentioned about the use in electricity generation. So I've also talked about capacity building, and in this regard, we have been doing capacity building, but firstly in the area of preparing human capital that will manage our nuclear plants once they are up. And just for the record, according to our program, the International Atomic Energy Agency has 3 phases that a country will have to go through. And the first phase is basically making activities before a country makes a decision to go nuclear. This is where the policy and decision makers decide whether they want that. This was actually done by the government, the NAC government of President Mwai back in 2010, when they came up with Vision 2030, and therefore they looked at the energy needs of the country and determined that we would need additional sources of energy, and decided to incorporate nuclear as one of the country's nuclear to be part of the country's energy mix. That was in 2010, and after that there are activities that are undertaken before procurement, preparatory activities, which we have been undertaking, and basically this is training people that will work in the sector, setting up a legal framework that includes acceding to international treaties that govern this space. We also worked with the Parliament to establish a legal regulatory framework in the name of the Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority under the Nuclear Regulatory Authority Act, and have also carried out pre-feasibility studies and the strategic environmental and social assessment exercise, and also continuously engaging in stakeholder engagements. In regard to a nuclear power plant, stakeholder engagement is a lifetime initiative. You have to do it before the project, during the project, and even after the project, because you have to have the social license throughout the lifetime of the nuclear power plants. That is why you will see in some countries there are periods when there is protests against nuclear power plants, and sometimes it becomes popular and so forth, because you have to continuously engage the people to have the social license and get them understand what is happening. So this is one of the activities that we've been doing, and we also carried out what is called site characterization, because a nuclear power plant must be located at particular places. We mapped out the entire country and did carried out studies, and have determined that Kenya's first nuclear power plant will be built in Kilifi County, with an alternative site in Kwale. And I know questions will be asked why, but there are certain things that the experts look for, and one of them is really the nearness to a water body that will be useful for cooling the plant. And also you require a nuclear power plant in an environment that is stable, the ground that is stable in terms of not being susceptible to movements or risk of earthquakes and flooding and so forth. And that we hope that the construction will then begin in 2027, with the first plant being commissioned in 2034. As you know, I've mentioned this, that the nuclear project is actually within the Vision 2030 agenda of the Vision 2030 plan of the country. And as you know, energy is an enabler, and also coming to the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Again, we will need a lot of energy to support those initiatives. The housing projects will require electricity. Nuclear technology will also, nuclear power plant will also create jobs, in the sense that it will bring the cost of energy down, ensure that we have stable and reliable electricity, which will encourage investment, and encourage many people to build industries and factories and create employment in that field. I've already talked about, one of the activities we are doing is also working on the laws, and we have the Energy Policy 2018. The Energy Act was done in 2019, but currently we're also working on the National Nuclear Policy, which is at a very advanced stage and will be unveiled in due course. Nuclear, as I mentioned, is part of the country's least cost power development plan and the rural electrification master plan. Where does nuclear fall in the SDGs? It's under SDG number 7 in regard to clean and affordable energy. I've talked about this. There's a requirement that we have to have stakeholder engagements and to support the program, and this we do it with different government organizations. As you will know, the nuclear power plant will be cross-cutting. We'll have to work with engineers, we'll have to work with the accountants, and we'll have to work with HR experts, we'll have to work with the lawyers and all these people. So we need to have stakeholder engagements, and that's why you will see NuPEA is always having engagements with the different professional bodies and even social private clubs. We also have international engagements with other organizations such as the Korea KEPCO, Korea Engineering Power Company, KAERI, that's Korea Atomic Energy Research Institute, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the AFRA is the African Regional Coordination Framework for nuclear science and technology activities, and WIN is Women in Nuclear. These are chapters that are all over the world, in many countries that are having this technology. So basically, as a way forward, we are saying that nuclear energy plays an important role in terms of providing reliable and secure supply of energy for economic and social growth, and will support this country in the decarbonization effort to manage the greenhouse gases. In conclusion, NuPEA is a strategic institution for this government, and it is engaged in developing policy and legislation to support the program. It will help in building a skilled workforce that will be utilized in the operation of the first nuclear power program. And through public awareness, education, and transparency, we will be able to get our people to understand what the plant will do and to get social licenses to be able to operate. And we will also work with the government to explore financing models. I know many of you will ask the cost of the plant, and the answer to this is that a nuclear power plant is very, very expensive. And one of the things is we are charged as an organization is to carry out studies to understand how we'll deliver this program without affecting other priority areas. And we will study different models of how we can deliver it, including considering PPPs, G2G, and so forth. But the beauty is that we have been able to prove that nuclear power plants are projects that run for about 8 years. And once it is commissioned, it is possible that a nuclear power plant should be able to pay itself off within 17 to 20 years. So basically, you're looking at a bonus of about 60 years. So actually, it's a good project in the long term. And also, generally, nuclear power plants have very little operation and maintenance costs once they are up and running. With that, I want to thank you very much for listening to me.